Welcome everyone, Rav here from Alternate Reality, and today will be a bit different than usual. Now, you may or may not have heard of this story, the Pomerade dish. The picture you're looking at was taken in 1996. The man to the right, Edgar Ortiz, was a UFO investigator from Colombia who called the man in the middle, Paul Damon, saying that he should fly down to Colombia to come and investigate this extraordinary object that Mr. Lindley, the man to the left, found in the ocean. So here's Mr. Lindley's story, or at least a short version of it. Mr. Finley was a fisherman in Colombia that owned a family restaurant and was mostly out fishing to supply his family business. In 1959, he went out with his brother to fish for some mussel close to the Boulevard Quay during the rainy season. Once in the ocean, Mr. Lindley noticed a shiny object. Not knowing what it was, he made his way towards it. He mentioned that it looked like someone was flashing a flashlight right at him. Once he realized it was a shiny disc, he thought maybe it was a piece that broke off another small boat. So thinking nothing of it, he brought it back, put it away, and forgot about it. "37 years later, Paul Damon believed that this dish was definitely worth investigating, so he made his way to Colombia to meet Mr. Lindley. And here are just some of the unique characteristics that he found about this object. Paul Damon asked Mr. Lindley if anyone wanted to buy this object from him. Mr. Lindley replied, "Plenty of people, but because his brother had a fishing accident 3 days after they found this object, he decided that he will not sell it since it had a lot of sentimental value to him." Now, when asked, was there anyone strange or unusual, this is where I thought it got interesting. So, two men walked into Mr. Finley's restaurant claiming that they were from Lebanon with very pale skin and asked him if he was selling anything. Thinking they meant food, he gave them the menu. That is when they looked at him and said, "No, are you selling anything unique or special?" At that point, Mr. Finley had no idea what they were talking about. So when asked, out of the hundreds of people that wanted to buy that, why was that a strange encounter? And he mentioned that he gets hundreds of tourists on that island from Germany, and he knows for sure that those men spoke in a German accent, and they're definitely not from Lebanon. So why is any of this information any important, and why am I even doing this video? Because the recent leaked footage by the Navy and the other stories you're about to hear seem to be connected somehow.
Yeah, we have 31 knots sustained wind, topside, gust of 40.
What was splashed? Splashed. Mark bearing and range.
In 1950, a strange incident happened to Betty Anderson Luca when she was a teenager. Anderson Luca said that it was a normal afternoon. She was indoors when she was swept away by a wheel-like device flying very fast towards the sea in a smooth speed, plunging straight down into the water surface, then gently sank. After a short period of time of cruising in the ocean, the ship entered a tunnel with ice pillars along the wall that were brightly lit. Then came a large dome, possibly where the base was or some other bases. She was struck by the fact that there were so many people inside glass barrels frozen there like insects trapped in amber. They were all wearing clothes from different historical periods and put in groups that matched that period. She said that that place was like a museum of time. After that, she was sent home and forgot everything for decades. However, in her book, she does mention about them having a German accent. In 1979, a man by the name of Filiberto Cardenas and his wife drove to buy a pig for the weekend. But on the way, he got lost and decided to turn into a dark country road. Still confused, he hears a noise like a swarm of bees, and the car just started to shake like an earthquake. Then Cardenas was suddenly paralyzed by some sort of invisible force and was lifted into the air in a state of unconsciousness. When he regained consciousness, he was still paralyzed, sitting inside a bright room surrounded by humanoid creatures in helmets, who spoke to each other in language that seemed to him like German. In front of him was a wall-mounted screen on which flashes images of different periods in Earth's history and what he thought was the future. When the show ended, he was taken to a small ship that flew towards a beach, then plunged into the ocean. The ship carrying him approached an underwater tunnel, and along the edges were lights. Then they entered a dry cave, which I presume is the dome. Cardenas was then taken to a ship that was sitting on a rock and was greeted by a man. This man told them that he was human and that he was recruited by aliens. Then Cardenas was taken to a large underwater city, and the last thing he remembered was waking up where he was kidnapped. The last story is about Orlando Jorge Ferrari from Argentina. In 1965, while fishing on the North Coast, he suddenly felt like he was being watched. Turning to look back, he saw a large 7-foot humanoid with pale skin, bright eyes, dressed in a light yellow outfit. The stranger seemed to know that Orlando was frightened and tried to appease him through telepathic messages. Orlando said, quote, "It was a dark night. This person telepathically said to me, 'Take it easy. You don't have to be scared.' Then he took out a small box and placed it on the wall. When opened, this box emitted a phosphorus light that allowed me to see more details. His outfit, it was yellow. It had absolutely no wrinkles. And he kept repeating, 'Don't be afraid. You'll come with me. We'll have a long trip.' Then a large object, like an inverted plate, approached from the water. Then the door opened, and that's when he saw a large person giving them the signal to come inside. Once inside, he saw a young girl that was also human. She told him that her name was Elena and that he had nothing to fear and that aliens are friendly, not our enemies. They were both told to change into some sort of jumpsuit, and they were told that they would be traveling underwater across the ocean to Africa. Along the way, they stopped at a large underwater dome where some bases appeared to be repairing ships and performed various experiments. Orlando and Elena were fed a variety of tasteless red, yellow, brown, and green eggs, then placed on a stretcher, and the two fell into a deep sleep. When they woke up, they were told that the test results are good and that their pineal gland has been reactivated and that this will allow them to receive mental messages from the aliens. They both claim to have received lots of information about the home planet of the aliens and how their ship works. Later, Orlando woke up on the beach where he had first encountered this strange phenomenon. And yes, they did meet later on in life. So is there an alien base under our ocean? And if so, we can only imagine what the Navy's not showing us. And as always, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. I'm sorry it took me so long to post. This was definitely a challenge for me. But hey, I'll do anything for you guys. So if you enjoyed this video or if you're new to this channel, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And I'll see you guys in the comments below.